Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we are doing a 3-month review of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of bad things to say about it, is there? Stay tuned. So the DJI Mini 3 was released back in May the 10th, 2022. And ever since then it has really changed the way that we like to film and take our photos with aerial photography and videography. In my opinion, it is the most exciting drone to come out since probably the Mini 2 and possibly the DJI FPV. It's cannibalizing a lot of drones. Like my DJI Mavic 2 Pro is, it just feels so heavy compared to the Mini 3. It's crazy. Right, let's just go straight into the specs, okay? The DJI Mini 3 Pro weighs less than 249 grams. It has a 1/1.3 inch sensor with a lens of an f-stop 1.7. It can fly for 34 minutes and it can film at 4K 60 frames a second or 2.7K or 1080p, so on and so forth. It can take 12 megapixel photos and it can also take 48 megapixel photos, which is impressive. But I have my flaws with the 48 megapixel, but that's the very tiny one. But anyway, we're back to the specs, And obviously, most importantly, it can take JPEG and RAW pictures. You can do active track, Spotlight 2.0, you can do hyperlapses, quick shots and time lapses, all with the vertical lens, which is the game changer. And with that said, that is another spec. Now, yeah, the photos you get off this thing are incredible. The video you get off it is amazing. Like you saw in my low light test review at Dunnottar Castle, the footage was outstanding. Another thing that they have done is they kind of made a deal of it, but they didn't at the same time. It has HDR video on it. Now, I remember the DJI Air 2 used to have HDR video, but if I remember correctly, that used to be a setting you had to go on to make it HDR, but I don't even think you get that option on this because of like the dual ISO setting it has already built into it. So not that I know the science behind it, but I'm assuming in brighter daylight it doesn't have to do much with the ISO, but in darker patches it kind of auto adjusts to that. But even then it doesn't look bad at all. Like I could show you in this example of the rocks and the water, which was colour corrected and colour graded, and the sky looks absolutely crystal clear, but that's another point that we're going to get into. So let's go on to the camera. Pretty much almost covering what I just said there. The camera is what we all get really excited about when it comes to these bits of equipment. Yes, we love how quiet they are and the flexibility of getting unique aerial shots and that, but the camera is all in all what we go for. There's no point getting a drone if it's got a crap camera, let's face it. And this camera has really changed the game with the vertical camera, how you can change on a button, it'll go horizontal, and it's good. It's really good. With the f-stop 1.7 aperture and the 1/1.3 inch sensor, it is a low light beast. And I think if you were on a budget, right, and you're considering the Mavic 3 Pro, which is a different kettle of fish, which is a different beast in itself, or you're wanting something like this, I still cannot believe how good this camera is. It is just such a good camera for what you get. It's really good, and it basically does what you need to do. And like, I think as well, you've got the reliability of it being under 250 grams. So you've got that flexibility, so you can get less restrictions in flying wherever you want to go. I pretty much touched up on with the low light sensor, which is a big deal with the drones because we all want to get sunsets and sunrises as well, which is where you make your money at the end of the day. But with that said, the D-Cine-like setting with the built-in 10-bit profile is another like incredible thing that makes the footage just look so good. It really does. Like, you can just really get flexible with the colour correcting, which is another thing that's cannibalising my Mavic 2 Pro, which already has that built in. And I'm struggling to find out flaws with the camera or the drone itself, so yeah, it is just so good. And obviously with the vertical camera, like back in the day, the Mavic 2 zoom, you could shoot portrait, but with this one now, you used to have to crop it in and then it would kind of look zoomed in, it would look compressed, so if you're filming in 4K, it would probably bring it down to, I don't know, 1080 or maybe a bit more than that, I don't know, but now you can just film 4K vertical and you get a bit more on your screen as well. So yeah, it kind of makes the TikToks and the Instagram reels so much more appealing, and it can make you a lot more creative too. The 12 megapixel camera on this drone is very, very good for taking photos, and the photos look very professional, as you would expect if you're looking to spend about 800 to £1,000 on this drone. I can't fault it at all, the colours just pop right out. Yeah, they just look really good, and obviously with the vertical shooting as well, you don't have to crop in as much if you're intending to get a sort of portrait sort of look. If I was to be very critical, it would have been good if it was just a natural 20 megapixel sensor camera, like the Mavic 2 Pro. I keep going back to the Mavic 2 Pro because that's the next step up drone I've got, if I want to call it a step up.
That doesn't even make any sense!
And my reason for saying that is, yes, it does take 40 megapixel photos, but I am not convinced. And again, this is me being very critical, like, this is all my opinion, okay, so you can tell me where to go, you can click on another video if you disagree, but I've noticed with the 40 megapixel photos you get off this camera, which are very good for like distance shots and that, is that when you do zoom in, it's kind of got that sort of water painting look to it when you zoom in, which is something that I've often found in Lightroom when you click to enhance the photo for bigger prints and that. But again, that's not really a big deal, because I mean, no one's really going to be pixel peeping that much. And with that said, the 48 megapixel photos are still very good. So you're probably wondering, how is this a criticism, because you're actually complimenting it, yet you're not complimenting it. The reason is because I need to find something to find a flaw in this drone, and I'm struggling. If that's really the only criticism I've got about the camera on this drone, then that's not a bad thing, I think. The flight time has improved from the DJI Mini 2. I can't remember what the DJI Mini 2 is, I'll say here, but you get 34 minutes with this drone, which is probably about 25 minutes, which is still pretty similar to the Mavic 2. It's not a lot, but it just means that you can fly in stronger winds as well, which I've noticed, which is good, which I don't recommend to new flyers, because okay, it can handle the winds, but when you try to fly back and you're in sports mode, it's not working, then that's where your experience comes in and you're skilled. Let's not go there. I do notice that, and it does make your workflow a lot easier. So if you've got a window where you can only get one shot and you need to hover for a little bit for that thing to come in, you're fine. And with the Fly More combo, where you get the more batteries, it makes life a lot easier too. One thing I did find disappointing about the batteries is that you need a more powerful power socket to charge the batteries. So like your normal iPod socket things, you will call it, that little triangular ones, they don't do the job, so you almost need like an iPad sort of plug, which the disappointing thing with that is that it doesn't come with the drone, which is okay. So if you were to go for the Fly More combo, you think it would come with that. No, it doesn't. You literally just get more propellers and more batteries in a bag, which is a bit tight, I would probably say. You get a cable. You end up with more cables and plugs these days, which is a bit of a disappointment, I think. But going on to something which is maybe not nothing to do with the battery itself, but another thing that I love about this drone is how quiet it is. I was filming a wedding last month and I took off and nobody saw it, nobody noticed it at all, which is perfect. The last thing you want is a loud wasp sounding drone which takes off, which is intimidating. People draw the attention, then when you're trying to get a nice shot, all you see is people's faces just staring at it, which kind of ruins the shot. You kind of want it to look cinematic and just, nobody even knows it's there type thing. and not one word of a lie, I was in a busy car park in Perth. I took off with it from the boot of my car because there was a sunset. Literally nobody noticed I had it. Nobody knew it, I flew it, I took off, nobody even looked. I landed it, nobody looked, nobody saw it. And to me that was impressive. It was just a busy car park and nobody saw. I just love this drone. One of the biggest improvements with the DJI Mini 3 Pro from the DJI Mini 2 is the motion sensors, which is good for obstacle avoidance so you don't crash. If anything, that doesn't make a big deal to me because with the DJI Mini 2, I think if we all flew that drone enough, I think we almost had to force ourselves to be good drone pilots in a way that we have to be very aware of our surroundings so we know we're not going to crash into anything, whereas now we've kind of got that built in where we technically don't have to worry about that apart from the sides. But I think it still makes a very good drone pilot if you don't have to rely on that. But that isn't why this makes this drone a lot better. It's because now you can do spotlight and active track, which is huge, and you can do some amazing like tracking shots with cars, and you can do your quick shots in vertical mode as well, which is incredible for like your TikToks and that. And I mean, let's be honest, let's hold it here for a second. It's roasting, by the way, because it's supposed to be flying about, but the fact that they've managed to fit all this and still make it under 250 grams is outstanding. If anything, it's a wonderful achievement from DJI to make all this happen. I know there's other competitors that have managed to do a good job, but I mean, we can't fault it. It is an outstanding achievement to be able to do that. So yeah, it is just another really good tool that comes with this drone. Yeah. So this is where the part of the review kind of goes a bit critical for me. And again, this is all my opinion, so yeah, I'm going to say it. The controller. Now I remember when people were getting their hands on this before everyone else could to promote it, do their vlogs and all that, they were saying that the controller is amazing. It's the new way of flying drones without having to put your phone in it, and the screen's so bright and it's just so good. If anything, I actually don't like the controller, if I'm being perfectly honest. I actually preferred the older one that came with the Mini 2. I know you can still buy that with this, but I mean, all in all, I did buy it because I wanted to see what it was like, and you know, you more or less take what people say with a pinch of salt, if not more. And I actually don't think the screen's that much brighter than a normal iPhone. I mean, it's 500 nits, and I know you can get like a screen to stop it, but I don't know. Another thing I don't like is how like it's cached within your controller. So like you've got an SD card in it, which is like fine. That's another step. I mean, I just feel like you're still having to double handle what you'd want. So you're not actually saving any time at all with your controller, because when you used to film it on your phone, it would all get cached into your phone, the footage and that, yeah? And you can still transfer like your JPEGs or like your videos and that, which is like, if you still want to preview it once your drone is away, which is what I loved about it. So I still feel like you're kind of double handling what you had to do. Another thing is that to fly this, you need internet to see the map. So you have to use your phone's personal hotspot, which I find pointless. And it's like, why? I don't know. It's just so annoying, because I would honestly just rather if I could just plug my phone in. I'm laughing because it sounds like I'm totally ripping apart the remote. But another thing is that I think the update has improved it. Now that I've actually tested it, don't expect me to be doing a range test anytime soon. There's times where you couldn't fly at 500 meters and it would break connection very, very easily. This happened during my nighttime flight at Dinort Castle. Interesting. I have been having issues with my drone losing connection, not losing connection, but today I have. I was quite shocked because the Mini 2 you could send miles away and it wouldn't break the connection, not that you would. But my point is that even if you did hide behind something, you still have a very strong connection. Whereas this one, like, you don't have the. Let's actually have a look here. So you've got the. Let's go old school here. So here you have the Mavic 2 Pro controllers, yeah. Which people thought were flimsy, but I actually didn't mind it once you plugged your phone in. I know it was a bit top heavy with the Mini 2 ones, but there's nothing wrong with that setup for me. There really isn't. It's in your hand, you've got control, you can see it, it's connected to your controller. You've actually got antennas which sends it far away, whereas with this, you don't. It's just that, and it's got like the little, I don't know if you can see that there if I kind of position, like, yeah. It's got like them bits there, it says this is the antenna, but yeah, I really miss the old setup, and if I could go back in time I would have just went with this. But I have seen recently that you can update to the Mavic 3 Pro controller. I don't actually know the name of it, I'll put it here, which is got a stronger connection, it's got brighter nits, so it is actually better in the highlights in that, and it has a stronger connection. But if that's the case, why don't they just put that with this controller? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm being very critical on it, but that's just my opinion. Sorry, another. I'm going back. When you do a screen recording like I'm doing just now, it's in 720p. It's not even 1080p. So if I was to do a screen recording on my iPhone, it would be 1080. So yeah, oh, sorry. Let's go to the next bit. So with the Fly More combo, you actually have to buy separately this time. So with this, you get the bag, which is I think exactly the same as the last DJI Mini 2 Fly More combo. You get a charging dock, which comes with 2 batteries, some more propellers, and that's really it. I mean, if you were, well, you can see that I'm leaning on a dirty lens. That's actually a broken lens. So if you're wondering why it's not got like a cap at the bottom, because it is broken. It's got it's a wise investment because you can fly more with it, you can carry it around with you, which is good. So, and it's even got a little pocket here for your ND filters and all that, so yeah. Now to the conclusion, I suppose one of the sad things, the sad thing about this review is that this Mini 3 Pro has pretty much cannibalised my my Mavic 2 Pro, and this review isn't about the Mavic 2 Pro, but what was once a monster in the sky is now a monster in my closet, because this is so much more convenient to carry around with, and it's quiet, it's good. I mean, this is good. I'll always keep this because it's still a monster in the wind. Like when I done my my morning sunrise video, which you can see here, it was like 30 mph gusts, and it still handled absolutely fine. But with the new C1 labels and that coming up, I don't think I'll be able to fly that drone again after this year, which is a shame. But again, like I said, this isn't about the Mavic 2, this is about the Mini 3 Pro, and to slap the word Pro at the end of DJI Mini 3 is quite a statement, and you've really got to follow up with that. DJI have made a very good job of living up to the Pro name on this, because it's a massive upgrade from the Mini 2. I think the Mini 2 did need its upgrades and that, and it's a huge price jump from the Mini 2 as well. But I think you can almost justify what you're paying for with this drone, with the, you know, like the 40 megapixel photos, the 4K at 60 frames, videos, the vertical camera, the obstacle avoidance, the spotlight, the quick shot, everything, how quiet it is, the longer flight times. Do I need to go on? I think I started this conclusion on a negative, not a negative but a sad note, and I think I should end it on a happy note. DJI are constantly doing wonderful things with their consumer equipment and even their prosumer stuff, and I feel like whenever they come out with a new product, I constantly keep saying they're doing so good, they're gonna hit a ceiling where they can't keep upgrading their equipment, and they keep doing so, and they keep proving me wrong. I mean, they're making filming so much easier and fun, and make our job so much easier with what you can get in it. And I think this is probably a good time to put a review out, we're coming into the last quarter of 2022, and you're maybe considering investing this as part of your kit, whether you're a photographer or videographer. You know, I've seen a lot of people toying whether this drone is worth it, because it is an investment as well. In my opinion, just go for it. It is the perfect tool to carry around with you. If you're looking at getting someone as a gift for Christmas, I would 100% do it. It's the perfect, I don't want to say this is a beginner's drone, because that almost condescends the capabilities of this drone. Don't get me wrong, it's very user friendly, but it is more than a beginner's drone. This is a professional tool. It is a very good professional tool. It does everything you want it to do. There's not a lot of limitations with it, I have to say. And if you are wanting to buy this as a beginner's drone, then great. I mean, it does have the obstacle avoidance in that. You can learn an awful lot from it, but don't rely on that. Drones are hard to fly, even though they are user friendly. They take time to fly, but I mean, if this is where you're going to start with, then it's a very good start, I must say. And on that note, I hope this review had added value to what you think of the Mini 3, whether you're toying to buy it or not, I'm not sure, but at the time of posting this video, I've maybe passed the 1,000 subscriber mark, as at some point I will. I'm not that far away from sitting at this moment so far, so I just want to thank everyone for subscribing and making my target 1,000 subscribers before I hit my anniversary of when I started uploading videos. That is incredible. I never would have expected that, so I just want to thank you for that, for making that achievement possible. I love uploading videos, I love giving my opinion on these tools, I love taking you behind the scenes, flying drones. I see people in the comments like that too. It's something I want to keep doing. I'm going full time now with Glenn Cairns Video Productions. I'll be able to have more time and flexibility to upload more videos, which is really exciting. So yeah, let's hit the new target of 10,000 subscribers. I'm a very ambitious guy, what can I say? And on that happy note, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like this video, and leave your comments below. Thank you. Stay tuned.